Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rebecca Davis, and I am an environmental health specialist with the Texas Department of Health. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all today. I will be presenting on the potential dioxin exposure in Buchanan County. The purpose of this presentation is to provide clear understanding of the potential dioxin contamination that occurred from the ABC Incorporated site to residential properties, and how it can affect both the environment and public health. By the end of the session, you'll be able to understand the source of dioxin contamination, including how it originally entered the soil at ABC Incorporated, identify the pathway of exposure and how people come in contact with dioxin, recognize potential health effects associated with both short-term and long-term exposure, learn practical steps residents can take to reduce exposure and protect themselves, understand the roles of public health and the environmental agencies in testing, cleanup, and community protection. Our goal is to provide you clear, actionable information so that you can make informed decisions about safety and health in your area affected by dioxin contamination. ABC Incorporated is a Superfund site that was previously a herbicide manufacturing plant located in Palm City, Buchanan County. During the production process, one of the unattended contaminants generated was 2,3,7,8 tetrachloride dibenzone P-dioxin, also known as TCDD. TCDD is the most toxic group of dioxin. It is known for its persistence in the environment and potential health risk. Today, we will discuss how TCDD entered the soil and how it affects both health and what both residents and public health agencies can do to reduce exposure. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, also known as EPA, has been involved with the ABC Incorporated site since the facility filed for bankruptcy and the evidence of unattended contaminants was first reported in 1980. The site was classified as a Superfund site and underwent cleanup in the 1990s. At that time, the soil in the industrial area was cleaned up to 5,000 parts per trillion, and the residential area was cleaned up to 1,000 parts per trillion. In 2012, the federal government published a new clean up standard based on updated information about TCDD toxicology. More recently, in 2023, the EPA began investigating residential yards that wasn't fully cleaned up in the 1990s. Soil samples indicated that some yards still exceeded safe values. As a result, cleanup efforts are now focused on removing soil from these residential areas and replacing it with clean soil where dioxin, or TCDD, levels are below 51 parts per trillion. This ongoing work ensures that residential areas meet the latest health-based safety standards. The main source of dioxin at ABC Incorporated site is TCDD. TCDD is the most toxic form of dioxin. TCDD was generated as an unattended byproduct during herbicide manufacturing. During past operation and waste disposal practices, contaminant materials and airborne particles was transported beyond the facility boundaries. Over time, these emissions and surfaces runoff contributed to the spread of dioxin in nearby residential yards and surrounding areas. Even after cleanup of the industrial and residential areas, some contaminated soil still remained at the site. There are several pathways through which people can be exposed. Soil contact while playing, gardening, or working in yards. Ingestion. Children are particularly at risk as they accidentally ingest contaminated soil or dust. Food chain. Dioxin in soil can be uptaken by plants or livestock, which are then consumed by humans. Dust inhalation. Dust particles from contaminated soil can be inhaled, leading to exposure. Understanding these pathways help both residents and public health agencies take steps to reduce exposure and protect health. Exposure to dioxin can affect health in different ways depending on the duration and amount of exposure. Short-term exposure is usually considered low risk, unless someone accidentally ingests a large amount of the contaminated soil. Long-term exposure can have much more serious effects, such as skin conditions such as chloroacne, liver damage, reproductive and developmental effects, increase of certain cancers. Because dioxin is persistent and can be accumulated in the body over time, minimizing exposure is important to protect public health. Residents can take several practical steps to reduce themselves and their families from dioxin exposure. Avoid contact. Do not dig or disturb contaminated soil. Wash your hands and feet thoroughly after outdoor activities. Limit consumption of homegrown produce and if soil contaminated is expected. Use barriers as a grass or mulch or other ground cover to reduce soil dust. Follow public health guidance for cleanup and soil testing. By following these precautions, residents can significantly reduce their risk of exposure to dioxin in soil and help protect their long-term health. Several agencies play important roles in addressing the ABC in corporate site. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, also known as EPA, is the lead federal agency. They are responsible for setting and enforcing national-wide environmental policies and overseeing cleanup activities. Environmental Pro Incorporated is the contractor hired by ABC Incorporated to assist with site's investigation and remediation efforts. At the state level, our Texas Department of Quality, also known as ADQ, is responsible for protecting, enhancing, and restoring the state environment. They provide regulatory oversight and work closely with the EPA. And finally, our Texas Department of Health, also known as ADH, focuses on public health. They evaluate potential health risks from environmental contaminants and provide guidance to protect residents. Together, these agencies coordinate efforts to ensure both environmental cleanup and protection of the community health. Public health agencies play key roles in protecting communities from dioxin exposure. Their activities include testing soils in areas of concern to identify contamination levels, providing education and guidance to residents on how to reduce exposure, coordinating cleanup efforts where dioxin levels exceed safe standards, monitoring health outcomes in affected communities to detect any potential impacts. By conducting these activities, agencies ensure that both the environment and public health are safeguarded, and residents have the information they need to protect themselves. To summarize the key points from today's presentation, dioxin, particularly TCDD, are persistent chemicals that remain in the soil from past herbicide manufacturing at ABC Incorporated site. Exposure can occur through soil contact, ingestion, food chain, or dust inhalation. Short-term exposure can pose low risk, while long-term exposure can affect the skin, liver, reproduction, and increase cancer risk. Reticence can reduce exposure by avoiding contact with the contaminated dirt, washing after outdoor activities, limiting consumption of homegrown produce if it is grown or suspected to be grown in the contaminated soil, using barriers like grass or mulch, and following public health guidance. Public health agencies actively test soil, educate residents, coordinate cleanup efforts, and monitor health outcomes to protect communities. Follow these steps ensure both environmental safety and public health. As we close, I want to make sure everyone knows who to contact for more information or concerns about the dioxin investigation in your health. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is the lead agency for overseeing the cleanup and long-term monitoring at the ABC corporate site. They can provide updates on soil testing, remediation progress, and regulatory requirements. Our Texas Department of Environmental Quality, also ADQ, manages state-level oversight and ensures that cleanup activities met environmental standards. They also handle questions related to soil and water sampling results. Our Texas Department of Health, also known as ADH, where I work, focus on protecting your health. Our environmental epidemiology section is available to answer questions about potential health risks, review sampling data, and provide guidance to help reduce exposure. If you have any health-related concerns, you can reach out directly to ADH, Environmental Epidemiology section, by phone or email. We want residents to feel informed, supported, and confident that your health remains our top priority. Before we conclude, I'd like to acknowledge the key sources that guided the information shared in today's presentation. This includes data and guidance from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the Agency for Toxic Substance and Disease Registry, the Our Texas Department of Environmental Health, and the Our Texas Department of Environmental Quality. These agencies provide the scientific foundation for assessing and managing environmental health concerns like dioxin exposure. Thank you for all taking the time to learn more about this issue and for your continued partnership in protecting community health. Your awareness and engagement plays an important role in ensuring a safe and healthy environment for everyone in Buchanan County. Thank you all for your time and attention today. We know this topic can be complex, and we want to make sure that your questions and concerns are fully addressed. At this point, I would like to open the floor for any questions or comments you may have. Please feel free to ask about the site investigation, dioxin exposure, health recommendations, or the roles the agencies involved. Our goal is to ensure that everyone leaves here with a clear understanding of the situation and the steps being taken to protect your health and community.